Hello, beautiful people. It's Sinderfam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be checking this video from the Whatever podcast, and this is another interesting topic. We're going to be discussing or checking this together. Let's check it out.
Why do you need promiscuity?
Because you need something of everything.
Why? Why do you need that?
There's people who want to stay single and just...
I know people want to, but why do you need it? When we're talking about... this is more of a conversation about duties and about what makes a healthy society rather than what we want, what our desires are. Why do you need promiscuity in a society?
Because you need something out of everything.
Why?
People are different.
Why do you need it?
Not everyone matches together.
I know, but just is there a reason why? Because I gave you my reason why we need family, because that makes a healthy society, healthy communities.
Yeah.
We need to maintain our birth rate. We need to proliferate as a species. Why do we need promiscuity?
Because we're human, and we've been doing this since the beginning of time, and it would be bad if that would not be a thing anymore.
Do you think it would be bad if people got together young and they pair bonded and they had kids and families and they weren't sleeping around and there were no STDs and there were no abortions and there were no single mothers and criminals coming from single mother households and people on welfare? Do you think that it would be bad if those things were taken away?
It's two extremes. I do think you need like a healthy mix of the both of them to make things work.
Yeah, it's just funny because you can't really give a reason why though, because you're just saying we need it because we need it without much of a reason.
Yeah, because people are different. If everyone was the same and wanted the same thing, that would not really be a good thing.
I still will not get and understand why people are rooting against having families or starting families or raising families or building families. Rather, they are rooting for promiscuity, having multiple partners, and say, oh, because that's how we started as human beings. So we should, because people have varieties, make it make sense. So why are people so against families? I really want to know why.
But yeah, I think you're more talking about what we want. So people want to have lots of sex, and there are people that want to have lots of sex, and I think most men out there want to have a lot of sex. But what we want and what we need are two different things. We need a stable society in order to move forward, in order to have future generations.
We also need people who think and act differently.
I would say that it's
You
good
can't go
if everyone
with
is.
the one and
If
not the
there
other.
are many different aspects of life, for example, people's creativity. We need creative people, and we need more orderly people, more structured people. That is a positive way that we can have diversity in the world. But in terms of this, it's very easy to see the fruits of a society that is very promiscuous, when they have very low birth rates and when they have high rates of disease and single mothers and
That's
the
not
products
always
of
the
single
case.
mothers.
These are extremes, what you're saying right now.
But this happens. This happens. It happens right here in America. You look at the African American community, for example. 75% of kids are born out of wedlock and are in single mother households. And then if you look at the statistics of kids who go to single mother households, they're 20 times more likely to end up being criminals, much more likely to end up being on drugs because they don't have a father in the home. This is all borne out by statistics. So
I can't
this is why
talk
we
about this side of the world. I don't know how
What if
things
I-
are
what
being
if I-
planned here, but
what if
I
I
think in Europe I can say that this works pretty well for us. So,
What
and I
does?
can't see it like
What works well?
if you want to say it like vulgarly is the promiscuous.
It works
thing.
well in Europe.
Yeah, it's super. It's actually really nice because it makes dating so much easier. Everyone's more relaxed, open-minded.
Yeah.
Wait,
less
it makes it
drama.
easier.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cultural decadence in Europe for sure. You guys have a birth rate in countries like Holland that's falling off a cliff. You guys are going to be replaced because you're not pair bonding over there.
Probably, but times are changing. There's nothing
No, actually,
bad
times are
about
changing. It's going in a really bad direction. Like the native population of Holland in 100, 200 years will be replaced by Muslims.
And why is that a problem?
Well, don't you have any national identity? Don't you have any pride in who you guys are?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I think that a lot of countries change, a lot of cultures change. So
wouldn't you-
if it happens because of certain things that we do, then it happens.
So you'd
and-
be happy for Dutch people to just fade out of existence?
No, of course not.
But what if it happened though?
What if the Dutch people disappeared? I would be
Yeah.
very sad.
Well, it kind of contradicts a little bit what you said before. Let me ask you a question related
It
to what
won't be
Jake
in
is
my
saying.
lifetime.
Do you think so? Like Japan is, although this might be changing, Japan is a country that's pretty well known for
Homogeneity?
Yeah, homogeneity, and they don't want a lot of immigration, I believe. Although maybe it's changing a little bit.
It's changing a little bit because their birth rates are so low. It's actually below 1 now. In
But
these places.
I guess my question for you is, would you think that there is anything wrong if Japanese people wanted Japan to remain Japanese, Like me and Jake, we could move to Japan. We can never become Japanese, right?
Yeah.
But do you think there's anything wrong with a country saying, hey, we want our country to remain our, is it race or ethnicity, or I don't know the specific terminology. Me personally, I can't actually think of any argument that in terms of objecting to Japan wishing to stay Japanese.
Sure.
Do you think that's wrong, though?
No, I honestly do not care about it. I don't have a say in it, so it is what it is.
Lol Paladins donated $200.02. Jake, you can't force a love of nation onto a women. Women have a biological imperative to breed with stronger men. European men are weak cooks. She would enjoy being forced to wear the burqa.
I think that a lot of European men are weak. I think that's very true.
Do people really think promiscuity helps a society build or helps build society than family? Do people really think that? Now we understand and we get where the problem is, because obviously lots of people think the society is better, or is better to have promiscuity. More people become promiscuous than, or multiple partners, regardless of the consequences. Don't think of the consequences because nobody freaking cares. Just do the thing as long as you love it or you enjoy it. Have multiple partners, you do whatever you want to do, as long as there is no need to build families. Because obviously if there is high rise of promiscuity, how many people are going to be building families? The birth rate is going to go low, because obviously people are not invested in building families, raising families, and having one. They're invested or more interested in having multiple partners. If you want to have kids, that's your choice. You can have multiple partners without even thinking of the consequences, the diseases, whatever. Obviously people think promiscuity or promoting promiscuity is going to help the society, but rather it's going to destroy the society, or you're rooting for the destruction of the society.
And that's the thing. It's so wild, because I think if you would ask Europeans, they would say the same thing about you. And I think it's really bad. I think there has to be some type of understanding, but it's so far apart. I don't think we'll ever. Really
I think that if you want to have a coherent worldview about that, and when you want to think about the bigger picture and what's best, you have to be able to explain why you think what you think, and why it's okay, and why it's okay to just go with what we want and what we desire and what makes us feel nice all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I think that
I don't explain it right.
No, I think you don't. You just don't really know why you believe that. I think it just feels nice. That's basically what you say. It feels good.
It doesn't feel good. We need to mix. You can't have one without the other.
Why not,
that's
though?
my
You
reason.
haven't made a.
Because it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
What doesn't work? Do you think that society didn't function well when people were creating families and getting
Yeah, and there will
married
be
young?
people creating families, but there will also be single people that look for other single people.
But you're saying that it won't work. You have to justify that claim. Why won't it work?
I don't know how else to explain it than that there has to be a mix.
Wait, a mix of what?
Promiscuity and like family structure.
Yeah, different people with different views.
Oh, I thought you meant mix in terms of culture.
No. That's
Groups of people.
No. That's shit. Well, we got to that because I said that their birth rate is falling off a cliff
Right.
with the native Dutch people, and they're actually going to get replaced in a few hundred years, and your country will be Muslim eventually. And she was like, "Oh, I don't really see the problem with that," and that's where you came in with Japan.
Okay.
But that was a kind of meta conversation. But yeah, I just don't really like. This is a very new thing. All of this cultural decadence that we're experiencing in the West at the moment, where people are just very liberal about it. Oh, we can do what we want. We can just have all of this sex, and we can not pair bond. And we're seeing the fruits of that, and it's not good. When it's not good at all. The birth rates are literally falling off a cliff, and that's a big problem. And women are getting older and older, and they're not marrying, and they're becoming depressed about it. Like in America, and I think throughout the Western world as well, the amount of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications that women are taking is obscene. And
But that doesn't have to do anything.
it
with
actually
being
does, because you
promiscuous or
can
not.
correlate it. You can correlate women who are single and childless in their 40s with antidepressants.
What's the rate for men?
Much lower than women.
What
Yeah.
are the statistics?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'm sure we could look it up. Yeah. But I mean, I think that generally speaking, a man can go his whole life just focusing on a career and be reasonably satisfied. It's not optimal, obviously, but if a woman does that, I think that it's a recipe for a disaster. Just the way that we're biologically wired. Only 40% of men that have ever lived have reproduced.
This is the lie they sell to people to tell them get into promiscuity, hook up, whatever you name, all of the um names or the languages attached to it. Don't raise families, don't build families, because you're calling for the destruction of the society if you think promiscuity is going to help with the society, because you're putting lots more pressure onto the society and to people, because obviously by not raising kids, what are you telling? Or by not having families, what are you telling people? There are lots more consequences, lots more damages that is going to be doing to the society than when people raise families, build homes, and have kids and have normal way of life. Of course, people don't want to think of the consequences, or don't want to think that to every some actions there are consequences attached to it. And if we're gonna be honest with ourselves, we can't have a big mix of both. It's always gonna be one or the other, and we can't have an healthy mix of both. It's always gonna be one or the over the other. One is gonna be dying, or one is gonna be more than the other. And over the years, or look at the society we live in today, is one is suffering, and we know which is suffering. But this is an interesting conversation. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment down below. You can share the useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.